Hey there gamers, DreamcastGuy here. Today we're talking about PlayStation because there has been a lot of Sony leaks in the last 24 hours. Apparently, there is a lot of internal discussion about delaying the PlayStation 6, and I want to dig into that. I want to talk about some changes to the PS5 Pro, and most importantly, a new state of play. A new state of play coming up in 2 weeks, the week of February 12th. And I want to break this down because it sounds like it might be a very, very big one. But I almost feel like the state of PlayStation right now is in a very odd spot mathematically, if you catch my drift, which is that think about the fact that Sony really isn't putting out that much first party. I mean, last year we got, Ghost of Yotei, which apparently sold millions and millions of copies, and we got a lot of third-party exclusives. But just when it comes to that pound-for-pound investment, right now, Sony is outselling the competition by magnitudes. They're even outselling the Nintendo Switch 2, even though that's the hot new item. The PS5 just continues to sell faster and faster and faster, and it just seems like, in an odd way, I think Sony is almost kind of trapped. They have to stay with the PS5, because the PS6 may sink them. But let me explain. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could please give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please, hope you're having a great day. Let's get into it. So I wanted to start with the fact that these raw numbers actually came out. This actually dropped about 3 or 4 days ago, and I actually just found this to be incredibly fascinating, which is that a lot of people have been curious about how successful the PS5 Pro has been for Sony, because I feel like you don't see a lot of people talking about it. And also, let's not lie, the PS5 Pro is very expensive. I think it's technically the most expensive console of all time, which is definitely saying something because even the base PS5 is super, super pricey. Well, I guess the Xbox Series X just got a 7th price increase. So now that the Xbox Series X 2 terabyte edition is $800, I guess that's technically more expensive. But we now know that 13% of purchases in 2025 were PS5 Pro models. Now, this technically came out towards the end of 2024, so it means that it's not even like that big launch pre-order numbers. This is just basically saying this is just as successful long-term currently as the PlayStation 4 Pro has been. Now, there have been leaks we've been talking about on the channel that one of the things that makes the PS5 look good, and now the Pro look good, is a system called PSSR. Essentially, the system is making extra frames. It's upscaling. It's making these sort of fake visuals that our eye can't perceive, but it makes the performance of games look way, way better. Essentially, making 4K look way cleaner, making games that are, 30 FPS look closer to 45 FPS, or some games that are 90 frames a second going over 120 frames a second. There is talks that this is about to actually get a software upgrade. This PSSR update may be coming out here literally before we even get to that state of play. Now, here's the other thing. A lot of analysts are hearing rumblings about the fact that Sony is very much trying to bump back their original plans. Sony was very much in a mad dash rush to get this PlayStation 6 out by 2027. A bunch of different people have basically said that when it comes to making consoles, you have to plan it way in advance. It's not just, hey, we have to design the chips and make sure the controller's got a good battery in it. It's like, okay, we need games lined up. We need a launch lineup. We need marketing budgets, but we also need to physically build factories to make all this, to construct this, warehouses to sit them in. And basically, they need to pull the trigger now. And a lot of people are saying that this is just not happening. They're not really gearing up for a release next year. It seems like everybody is basically saying, I don't think many people will be upset, but the PlayStation 6 needs to come out in 2029 or 2030 over 2027, 2028. Delay it, Sony. Let the PS5 shine. Gen feels like it just got started. Now, in the comments, a lot of people are like, brother, this is interesting. People are really hyped about that PS5 Pro update. I'll be upset. I need new tech. See, 2029 would be perfect. 2029 makes sense. Now, the reason is that there is this weird sort of industry tech shift where historically there has been that chase for infinite graphics. Hey, give me that new update. Give me that bigger map. Give me that shorter load time. Give me that better crowd density. But I do feel like everything is starting to look so incredibly good visually. Now, people just want smooth performance. It does feel like more and more people are less concerned about, all right, can I see a crazy sign off in the distance when I'm scoping through binoculars? People just want good frame rate and good games And the PS5 is already giving us that, right? I mean, just to pull a random game out of my hat, right? A game that sold like crazy last year, Battlefield 6. Battlefield 6 looks insane. Fully destructible environments. I mean, you see chaotic, crazy push and pull, tanks blowing stuff up. I played that on the PlayStation 6, the PlayStation 5 Pro, and it looks insane. And I think a lot of people are saying, all right, I'm not sure I need a $1,000 console, because that is the other side of it. We are probably going to be dealing with these, physical chip shortages for another couple years. So if they try to release a PlayStation 6 on schedule, it's going to be like a $1,200 system, which at this point, I think a lot of these companies are always terrified of bombing. A lot of these companies are like, all right, we don't want to release a console that sells like headline grabbingly low numbers. You don't want to release a console that bombs so bad everybody's like, PlayStation 6, the failure of the century, unsold stocks. You don't want Instagram photos or TikToks of people posing in front of giant unsold stacks of your console. And a $1,200 PS6 would absolutely be that. But speaking of current hype, I do want to talk a lot about the upcoming games. And something I see a lot, which is that there isn't a rush with the PlayStation 6, because not only is the PS5 doing well, even people that were supporting the PlayStation versus Xbox, people that were making big Xbox games, at this point, everything is on PlayStation. Every Microsoft Game Studio game, every upcoming exclusive, Forza, Gears of War, Halo, Fable, everything is coming to Xbox. Even third-party stuff. I have noticed the fact that everything that was supposed to be coming to Xbox, every single day now we see Xbox version canceled, Xbox version canceled. And I think it's just the fact that we are in a spot where if you want to make a game that actually sells, you have to put it on Steam, you have to put it on PlayStation, you got to put it on Nintendo. But at this point, even the cost it takes to port it to the Xbox is lost cash. Now, this isn't just, wow, the Xbox failed. It's that Sony is definitely in a spot now where they can see those numbers on the back end. Sony knows, okay, at this point, we don't really have to try. We don't have to advertise this in the same way. We don't have to go out there and just pound our chest the way we did when we were making our big comeback with late PlayStation 3. They really can kind of coast, which does suck. I mean, let's not lie. I think Sony is most fun when they are trying, when they are cranking out exclusives. I think that PlayStation 4 era, especially where you got an exclusive every 3 months for almost 10 solid years. There was like 86 exclusives for the PlayStation 4. And I think, what are we up to now? 35, I think, now with the PlayStation 5. Not as impressive. But here's the other thing I want to talk about, which is that yesterday, the most famous leaker of all, Jeff Grubb, huge fan of Jeff Grubb. Obviously, Jeff Grubb has a very good track record, especially with state of plays and like Nintendo Directs. People tell Jeff Grubb stuff he's not supposed to know, but he said there is a big state of play coming up on February 12th. Now, that's all Jeff Grubb said. Jeff Grubb said that. He did not say anything else. So this is all sort of speculation upon that, right? Now, there is a lot of stuff we do know is kind of cooking. Wolverine is supposed to still be coming out this year. I think a new Wolverine trailer completely makes sense. New Astrobot levels, maybe Astrobot 2 to me would be extremely awesome. This is, to me, Saros is already coming up so incredibly fast. It's wild that Saros is, I don't know, 9 weeks away? That's super weird to think about. Wolverine, though, is supposed to be fall. This state of play, I think, has a chance to be much more PlayStation focused than the last couple ones have been. There is talks about God of War 2.5D. There's all this stuff. Saros final trailer, maybe Cory Barlog secret game. Ghost of Yotei is getting its own Legends multiplayer mode. There is a lot of stuff that's interesting to me because I do feel like for the last, I don't want to overblow it, 2 or 3 years. It's been like 2 or 3 years now since we really had like a crazy PlayStation state of play that was mostly PlayStation. It's been years. Easily, it's been years. This could be that chance to finally come out and say, hey, here's where all those game monies are going, right? Here is every time you're buying consoles or buying limited edition God of War controllers, here's where that cash has been going. Here's that development cost paying off. I'm super curious about this state of play. Honestly, this state of play hopefully is the one that sort of sets in motion that change, that says, hey, here's why you should be happy to keep your PS5. I don't know. This is some off-the-cuff thoughts. How do you feel about this? And do you want me to stream this state of play? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. God, man, I'll be honest. I'm legit hyped about this. Oh boy, give me another state of play right now. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.